Далі продовжується суд над паном Іваном Дем'янюком в Німеччині. І минулого тижня ми вам подали інформацію про першу заяву пана Дем'янюка, зачитану адвокатом доктор Ulrich Bush. Сьогодні передаємо вам розмову з автором популярної п'єси про судові процеси пана Дем'янюка.
Німецьке суспільство поволі починає звертати увагу і реагувати на судовий процес над Іваном Дем'янюком. Останньо дуже позитивно німецька публіка в Гайдельбергу сприймає театральну постановку п'єси єврейсько-канадського драматурга Jonathan Garfinkel. Ця п'єса під назвою «The Trials of John Demjanjuk – A Holocaust Cabaret» в незвичний спосіб розглядає почуття винуватості німецького суспільства за своє минуле. Саме такого розголосу в засобах інформації сподівалися провідники нашої громади, які вважали, що цей суд несправедливий і не на місці. До нас тепер шляхом інтернету з Будапешту приєднався автор Jonathan Garfinkel. Jonathan, welcome to our show here by way of Budapest. How are you doing there?
I'm great. It's great to be on your show.
Jonathan, the play originally about Demjanjuk's trials in Israel has been updated, we heard, in the article in the Globe and Mail, with scenes from the Munich courtroom, and you were quoted as saying that the focus has shifted to the German sense of guilt about its past. Now, Jonathan, what observations did you make that make you come to this conclusion that the Germans are now guilty about their past?
It's based on my experiences in the Munich courtroom. I actually attended the Demjanjuk trial in December and January, and with the German director Katja Baumann, and my observations there, and also with her perspective on the Demjanjuk court process, was that this was an important trial for Germans in a way that really surprised me. And I guess one of the things that I found interesting was that after looking at the German history in terms of how they dealt with Nazis in the 1960s and 1970s, Germans, citizens in particular, were let off. And I felt like the Demjanjuk court case became a bit of an attempt to try and change the mistakes of their past. So in a way, the trial has become less about John Demjanjuk and more about German guilt. And I wanted to try and capture that feeling in the courtroom, in the trial process. And the other thing was interesting is that knowing that it would be in front of a German audience and having German actors involved in the production really lent it obviously a strong German perspective, and also this production was in German. So I felt it was actually quite important to talk to German culpability and the Germans' attempt to come to terms with its own past, which is the question of how did the Holocaust happen.
And Jonathan, there was also Mr. Demjanjuk finally made a statement through his lawyer Ulrich Bush, and it's kind of ironic. There seems to be a double standard here. Demjanjuk says, "I find it an unbearable injustice that Germany is trying to make me a prisoner of war into a war criminal with this trial." Now, is any of that feeling being reflected in your play at all?
Well, I mean, the play opens now with an 89-year-old John Demjanjuk in a wheelchair, alone on the stage. So, I mean, which for me was one of the strongest images of the court in Munich, which is you have this very old man who can't walk, who isn't even speaking in the courtroom, and you have all these people talking about Sobibor and the transports and all these terrible things, but none of them are actually addressing Demjanjuk himself. And in a way, Demjanjuk, the man, gets lost in the whole court process. I thought that statement issued by his lawyer, Uli Bush, was interesting in a few ways. And one of the things that struck me in it was the fact that the Germans are trying a Ukrainian. He's not even German. And in a sort of attempt to rectify its own problems of the past. So I thought that there's some strong statements in that in what his lawyer Bush had published.
In a certain way, it's as if the Germans are saying, hey, listen, we captured you. You were our prisoner. Now at gunpoint, you have to listen to what we say, and then later on, we'll try you for listening to us in the first place.
There's something a bit twisted in that logic, and I mean, certainly the play has a lot of absurdity and satirical styles to it, because I mean, from a writing perspective or from a theatrical perspective, I mean, you couldn't make this stuff up. It is, and that's sort of why I chose to do it as a cabaret, because I think there are elements of this that can be captured in a satirical way, because it is a kind of strange nightmare circus, the whole history of it.